we can service, and anyone can call about it. It is, I do want to emphasize, and this is something our teams are running into consistently, it is really helpful to us if you can call in your service requests. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, all these lovely stats we provide you, when you ask folks in the field for service, it's a lot harder for us to capture that. Some of those service calls are being missed. And those service calls are not just to inform you of what we're doing, they're also things and tools that we use to tell the city what we're doing, to show them how much work there is. So the more impressive our stats are, the more resources we can get to help combat some of those issues. So it is really helpful if you call in. The other big reason is our folks in the field, every minute that they're spending talking to you, and as much as they love talking to you, those are minutes that they're not working. So we have a dedicated person in the office during a slightly late version of business hours, and they are at a desk to take those calls. They log them, they make sure our stats get captured with the most amount of detail. When that person is off duty, which are our slower hours, our phone rolls over to one of our safe team officers. But again, that person's in the field, so they have to manually write down the issue, et cetera. So all of that just makes our data collection and our labor a little less efficient. So if you can call our office, that's really, really helpful to us. Doesn't mean you can't talk to our folks in the field. It's just kind of be cognizant of the fact that they know you're the customer, and they're going to be polite to you. And they might spend a lot of time with you and then have to make up that time on their route. So if you can just think about it or frame it that way and keep your approaches with them in the field, briefer, that really helps.
So, I just want to pick it up.
And it's interesting, we're finding that the majority of people in this district walk up to our folks instead of calling in. So we're just trying to shift a little bit more of that burden onto the office and a little less in the field because it helps us do more. In terms of bulky items and things like that, bulky items are an evolving thing for us. Our dumpsters are picked up daily, but we only have so much capacity. Some days there are bulky items that exceed what we can remove. We have a working relationship with Rec and Parks. Sometimes we can take some of those bulky items to a container that they have. Sometimes we have to 311 them also. So what we do is call in any bulky items you want removed. We go out and assess, and we figure out if we can take it right away, if we can come back for it later in the day and take it to Rec and Parks facility, or if we need to 311 it because we don't have enough capacity. And we try to use some judgment in that. The bigger a nuisance it is, the faster we'll try to get it out of there, the less of a nuisance it might be. It might wait a little longer, so we do sort of a triage on that. But our capacity to pick up bulky items, we hope will improve. In the winter, hopefully our trash volumes will go down a bit as well. So we're continuing to evaluate that, but we do want you to call about bulky items, and we'll do the best we can to get them out of there as fast as we can.
Biohazard.
And biohazard. We do biohazard. We internally kind of collectively refer to those things as code brown. We take code brown calls. So if you've got needles, urine, feces, etc., yes, we keep them out and remove them from house. So absolutely.
John, are you contiguous to the alley behind the Hampton property?
Yes.
Is that what you, okay, so question being, at the edges, the outer edges of our zones, are those alleys fully our responsibility, or are they splitting down the middle? Do we get the whole thing?
So one of the things, this is kind of interesting, bids back in the day often used to be formed, and they would put the boundary line down the middle of the street.
Right.
And what bids found is that was really tough, because one side of the street would be, really clean, and the other side not. Now, at the end of the day, you do have to draw a boundary somewhere. But what predominantly in our district, the boundary lines try to end with a property rather than with the street line. Now, sometimes the street line is the property line, so we can't always do that. But that's an effort to sort of minimize those one side of the street's taken care of and one side isn't. If the side of the street is outside our boundaries, we cannot service it. If you call our office, we will let you know that we can't service that, but we'll give you an alternative. So we'll say, this would be a 311 report. You can do this through 311. Or if it's something like, like a wooden power pole, the light is out, we would give you a contact, you can call LADWP to get that repaired. So we will always, when we have to say no, we'll try to give
The
you
different,
assistance.
I have a better example. Today,
Okay.
there's a mattress
Mhm.
in the alley
Mhm.
on the neighbor's property, outside my window. Whose
Mm-hmm.
responsibility is it? I've been dragging it, pushing in my 311. I see them drive by.
Mhm.
I don't want to jump out and ask them
So
to
this
pick
is
it up.
inside our boundary or outside? I'm sorry.
It's inside the boundary.
It's inside the boundary? Then yes, you can call us about that.
But your point about splitting, he's
Literally in the middle.
contiguous to the rear of properties on Hampton. So there's an alley behind
Right.
the zone properties, and the edge of his side yard is at that edge. So if we have the whole alley, then we can go right up to his property.
Yeah. Tell you what, to make it easier, you call it in and we will figure out whether it's
Okay.
not. And if it's not, we'll
Perfect.
say, I'm sorry, you
We'll
have to
work together.
311 that
I
one.
think it
So-
is.
Thank you.
I'm
But-
sorry, you have to move it 3 feet.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you.
These are incredibly important questions
Yeah.
about
Yes.
how does this work?
Exactly.
How can we help, and also how do we complement existing services? So it's an incredibly important question. I'm glad you brought it up today.
And bulky item requests in our area are picked up on Tuesdays. Do we know what the cutoff is? By when do you have to have a request in to make that Tuesday? If not, we'll try to find that out.
I'm doing
But
it late at
Generally,
night
they do.
Monday.
I would think it's at least the day before because they give you
They're
the
already-
instruction to put it out in the morning.
Well, they're running the truck, I mean, I've had great luck with 311, I really think it's a
Yeah.
terrific service.
I use it
And
every
the
week.
app is fantastic, you take a photo, you get an email that they've got the request, and they give you an email that they've taken care of
It
it.
has, but if I put in 314 Sunset, the other property behind me, which is in the bid.
Yes.
They won't, 211 won't pick it up, so I have to pull
They
the
won't.
item down to my,
They should.
Why
They-
won't
They still should.
because it won't let me put the service request in. Yeah. It
Well,
locks
they
it.
may not, it may be a different address.
Maybe it's the address. It could, you could be
Yeah.
near, you also, you're near Santa Monica actually too. You know that,
No, no, it's-
Hampton, that it's
I know where
split.
314 Sunset is.
Yeah, right.
The 311 is still active within the Bay Area.
Okay,
Yes,
because I'm getting some errors now. That address is not looking up. I save them too. I'll
Screenshot
forward
that
it.
and
Yeah.
forward it to.
I might try and address slightly, one side or the other of it.
I draw the pin.
317.
They seem
You
to-
cannot replace city services, though. It shouldn't reject it.
Exactly, that's the
Yes.
problem, if the DWP bill is a little.
Right.
There's no blackout for 311 like in our area. That
And pickups seem to be on the day that
My
your
guess
trash
is it's a
pickup is.
technical issue of
Typically.
some type.
Yeah, I have a lot of wonky issues with like Westminster Court, Horizon Court. It wants to take it to the avenue, but
Yeah.
I often have to manually enter the actual.
That's why I was dragging it to my address.
I've done that too.
Doesn't that look like?
But no, the city, because we place 311 requests for certain items that we don't have the capacity to remove. So yes, we do know it works within the bid, and they do provide the services within the bid. It's probably a technical
Once a week.
issue.
Say Code Brown.
Go, Brown.
Okay. Let's see, on your report,
that's-
you were answering, but you're done.
I think that's the end of the report unless I missed any questions.
Thank you, Tara.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks to everyone with their reports. And with that, we'll move on to item 5, consent items. And the first is 5A, approval of the minutes. So, does anyone have any changes to the minutes or anything they'd like to discuss about the minutes? No? Okay, then let's move on to item B, financial reports, including the 2017 financial review. And we will take an action on item 5, all of the consent items. But yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. So we'll have Marcus discuss the financial reports.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time. First up is the balance sheet. There's not much that's changed since the previously issued balance sheet. in June, just a little less cash on hand, and also the accrual of 2017 assessments that are to be refunded or are being refunded. I'm not sure the status of that at the moment.
The first, so the city clerk's office processed refunds in 2 batches. The first batch, anyone who paid their assessment in full for 2017 should have received an affidavit, if they wanted their refund, should have returned that affidavit, and they have issued checks and refunds to those people who have completed the affidavit. So if you completed the affidavit, you haven't heard from them, it is a good time to follow up with the city clerk's office. I think most refunds seem to have gone smoothly. We've gotten 1 or 2 calls from individuals where property owner has changed or the name of the trust has changed, and so they have to do a little paperwork to get the check reissued, but it seems to be going smoothly. For anyone who paid part of their assessment last year or did not pay it, that's the batch that the city clerk's office is working on now. That requires a little more effort on their part to determine what was paid, if the individual is owed money or if they still owe money, etc. So that batch is still in process. I don't have a target date for that, but they were hopeful. Okay. They were hopeful that within the next 30 days they would have most of those resolved. There might be a few cases that would take longer. Those forms include a number for the city clerk's office, but if you have trouble reaching them, please give us a call and we'll follow up with them. We can't directly do anything in regards to the refunds, but we can follow up to make sure that the clerk's office is aware of your issue.
And I would also just add, Marcus, real quick, that number on the financial statements is, information we've been able to surmise from the city, but they really haven't given us true hard and fast numbers. So it is our best estimate of what that number should be. Is that correct?
It is correct. So when we spoke to the city, they had suggested, they suggested to use a figure